Thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here this morning and to have such an amazing organization being able to share with us today. Um, Many of you are familiar with the Richstone Family Center. And since 1974, they've been dedicating to treating and preventing child abuse and trauma, and also strengthening and educating families and preventing violence in families, schools, and communities. What an incredible undertaking they have. And we have their development director here to share with us today. But before we mention that, I have a step grandson who has a very good friend who works at Richstone, and she personally was sharing with me this summer how wonderful it is to work for that organization. So a little bit of an insider view and just incredible compliments to the entire staff and how inspired everyone is. So it's, again, lovely to work with you folks. So we have with us this morning Allison Tanaka, who is the development director for the Richstone Family Center. And Allison has worked in nonprofit for more than 18 years. She must have started when she was 12. She looks so very young. And she's been involved in program planning and management and fund development. She earned her degree in political science from the University of California, San Diego, and spent time in San Diego in the mayor's office before she came back to LA to devote time to projects with arts and children's organizations. She has now been with Richstone for more than 16 years, and she utilizes her current position to help foster relationships with community-based organizations, with individuals, with foundations, and with government organizations to create opportunities for the family that the agency serves. So it's my pleasure to welcome and to introduce Allison to you all today. Thank you for joining us, Allison.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. Is it possible to screen share? It says host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Allison, hi, good morning. It's Josie. Hi,
Okay.
I just made you the host, so you should be able to screen share now.
I certainly can. All right, let me do that. Oh, okay. Ooh, do I need to let people in on the waiting room? I'm letting people in, sorry. Okay, so thank you again for having me here today. As Gail mentioned, This is for Children has been such a long-time partner of Richstone, and you've made so much possible for us throughout the years. You've really invested in our core child abuse therapy programs, but in recent years, you've also helped us launch an art therapy program, as well as a summer art and activity camp for kids. So again, you've just helped make so many services possible and help so many families along the way. So thank you. I'm excited to be able to tell you a little bit more about who we are and what it is that we do. So our mission, as Gail mentioned, was the Richstone Family Center is dedicated to treating and preventing child abuse and trauma, strengthening and educating families, and preventing violence in families, schools, and communities. We were founded in 1974. We really started off as a passion project. It was started by 4 professionals in the medical and mental health fields who acknowledged at the time that there were a lot of families that were suffering through child abuse and domestic violence in the South Bay, but they really wanted access to any programs that would support them and any resources. So they volunteered their time for many years just to help support these families. And then in 1974, a woman named B. Richstone heard about the programs in a class that she was taking, just fell in love with the work that they were doing. And she came into a small inheritance of $10,000 and actually invested that into buying the property in Hawthorne, which is this little house here, which became home base for the operations. And although we've grown, we still continue to provide services out of that same location to this day. So we are still on that little site in Hawthorne. Child abuse really is at the core of everything that we do. It is this hidden epidemic that can happen in any community, anywhere in the world. It crosses all socioeconomic levels, ethnicities, and cultures, and crosses religious and education levels as well. So it really is this universal problem. And then a shocking statistic to me that has been emphasized in recent years is that a new report of child abuse is filed every 10 seconds. I have a 5-year-old in my house. So right now, she and I, we count to 10 a lot during the day. And so it's really crazy to think that every 10 seconds, there's a new case of child abuse that is reported in this country. Another thing that you may hear about more frequently nowadays is about trauma and adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs as they're called. All the different forms of child abuse, physical, emotional, sexual, neglect, it all falls underneath the umbrella of these ACEs, these childhood ACEs. But so too does exposure to violence, mental illness, or substance use in the home. Those are all forms of trauma and ACEs, as is food insecurity and shelter insecurity. And the damage of these ACEs is not only short term for these children, but it also has these lasting long-term effects if there's not early intervention. So what ends up happening is it affects the child's ability to grow, to cognitively develop and learn. It impacts their behavior. It leads to negative behaviors. And in the long term, it also is tied to detrimental health issues. So folks who have a larger number of ACEs that they experience in their life have an increased risk of heart disease and diabetes and cancer. So really, without early intervention, without getting early help, they have the potential of long-term lasting effects. And so at Richstone, we are really trying to not only treat the children that are going through these traumatic experiences, but also trying to help educate caregivers and teachers and community members on what trauma really looks like and what it really does. You'll hear the term trauma-informed classroom. It's really trying to help people understand that some kids aren't bad kids. It's really that there's so much that they've experienced that trigger some of these negative behavioral responses. So it's teaching people to see children as a whole package, everything that comes along with them, all of their experiences that may lead to some of their behavior and some of their reactions. So that's something that we're really and again, we really believe that every child deserves to have a safe, nurturing home, you know, a secure and healthy parent-child relationship, and an environment that supports their successful growth and development. So I'm actually going to play a video so you don't have to listen to me the whole time.
Richstone Family Center
Oops.
has been serving this community since 1974. The first year, we provided therapy to 70 children. This last year, we provided services to 3,200 children and families. There's a crisis going on right now with our children and families. Every 10 seconds, a new case of child abuse is reported in the United States. Every 9 seconds, a new case of domestic violence is reported. And every day, 5 children die as victims of child abuse.
And we see it every day, the need for help and resources. And Richstone is bringing hope to the South Bay. And we're doing this through a combination of treatment and prevention programs. In the treatment program, our biggest service that we offer is therapy. And we do that individually, we do that with families or in groups and classes. And that just gives us a variety of ways to treat a client's trauma, whether it's related to child abuse or domestic violence.
What first drew me to Richstone is how it embraces differences And it really creates, I call it like a tribe of people who build connection and who feel that they matter, and that their differences are a reason to celebrate and to
Sorry, you cannot see the video. I'm so sorry.
It's all good, Allison. You're good.
Oh,
You're doing great. We could hear it. It's like radio during this COVID time.
okay. Oh, okay. Can you see it now? Do you see a giant heart now? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
be valued as opposed to be pushed aside.
I guess found myself here in a way. I learned that I love math, that I like to paint and draw, that it was okay to be different.
You know, when a 6 or 7-year-old turns to you and you ask that question, who do you talk to? Who do you trust? And then they say, I don't trust anyone, but I feel like I trust you. I feel like I can talk to you. That hits home, you know, and those are the moments when I realize, or we realize here at Richstone, that we have a major impact on families' life, on children's life.
Another treatment program that we offer is new to us. It's our wellness program. And what this does is it allows us to treat clients beyond their traumatic event and really incorporate other types of healing, such as Tai Chi and yoga and even healthy cooking and things like that, that heal them on a much larger scale. Component of our services is do that in a program that we call Kids Club, where children from the community come to us and do homework and have fun and are safe during a time when a lot of children in our community are vulnerable. We also have a program called Parents as Teachers, and that allows us to go into the home and work with parents and teach them how to become the first teachers of their children.
Before, my house was empty, no books. Now it's full of books. And Dr. Sue is my best friend.
We know our services work, not just because we see the families grow and hear from them how much they've grown, but also because families who've been through our treatment, 95% of them have no further incidents of violence or abuse.
Right. So that, oh. All right. So that kind of gives you an idea of all the different programs that we are providing. And really our philosophy, oh no, I don't want to do that. Our philosophy is really to be able to not just treat the survivor or the victim of abuse, but really to modify their entire environment. We don't want to just take a child and provide them crisis healing or short-term healing and then return them back to a dysfunctional environment. We realize that it's really about correcting the environment as a whole. So our approach is to really involve and engage the entire family through parenting classes, through different crisis interventions, through support groups, to really make sure that every member of that family builds long-term resiliency, develops the tools they need to communicate well with one another, and really to end the cycle of abuse over the longer term. Because so many of the families that are referred to us through DCFS, you know, the parents grew up in dysfunctional homes or homes that had violence, and so they've normalized a lot of that behavior. They have no idea what a healthy family looks like or how to appropriately and positively parent your child. So it really is trying to change some of those behavior norms and really give these families and these children the opportunity at long-term success. And then with COVID really has created this, tremendous, it's exacerbated the problem. So when safer at home orders were enacted, a lot of these families were not safe in the home to begin with. So now instances of domestic violence have been on the rise. And alarmingly, the Department of Children and Family Services has seen a 50% decrease in the number of child abuse reports, primarily because the kids aren't in school, so there's an absence of intervention from school staff. So we know that abuse is still happening in the homes, it's just a failure of reporting. So what we're trying to do is virtual services, do virtual check-ins on the families, just to ensure that we're doing all that we can to reduce the stress levels and to ensure that these kids stay safe during these tough times. We've experienced a large increase in demand for services. Our waiting list has essentially doubled since the pandemic began in March. So there is a lot going on in our community. And your support has been so beneficial. The grant that you provided us several months ago, initially we had requested it to support like our summer in-person services. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do our summer in-person services as planned, but what we were able to do is still provide activities for the kids over the summer, just virtually. So we to a teletherapy service model and offered virtual support groups for the families. We were able to, through online activities, provide enrichment programs for the kids. Our staff has been amazing. They put together these art kits, mindfulness kits that they were able to drop off to the children at home to make sure that they have something positive to do and to occupy their time. And then more importantly, it helps sustain our weekly food pantry and supply distributions. So obviously, the demand for food has increased within our client base, and we've been able to really make sure that these families have stayed fed, and it's been amazing. So you have definitely helped make a lot possible. And there's a client in particular that comes to mind. She's actually participated in all of the summer programs, as has her kids. She's single of 5 children. These are actually her kids in the picture, or 2 of her kids in the picture. And she is just one who is a survivor. She receives no child support from the dad who left the home, and she herself has been hospitalized in the past year due to some medical issues that she's still receiving treatment for. She's been unable to work, and so the food pantry, the school supply drop-offs, those have been a lifeline for her. And it was one of those situations where when it rains, it pours. Her refrigerator broke during the midst of the pandemic, and she's trying to keep foods from spoiling with ice in a sink. And it was one of those where we were able to find her resources to get her a new refrigerator. But I think it's one of those things where she has relied so heavily on the support she receives from Richstone, and with your support through the summer, it has really given her hope. She's always been one of those who has been the first to volunteer and the first to want to help when help is needed. And I know that it's just been such a hard time for her, but the food that she's getting, the school supplies she received through your help, it is this lifeline of support and hope for her. And it's really right now what is helping to keep her going. So thank you for that gift. And it really kind of comes down to the story of our heart. If you look at our logo, it's this broken heart. And it's a true story based on one of our therapy clients from long ago. She wouldn't speak. She was nonverbal when she first came in for therapy. When asked how she felt, she drew a heart and she tore it up. When she was finally completing her therapy down the road, her therapist, brought out an envelope with all of the broken pieces of her heart, and she was to talk to her and say, how do you feel now? And the little girl asked for tape, and she taped the heart back together again, and she told her therapist, my heart was broken and you mended it. So that really kind of encompasses the story of who we are as an organization. And again, your contributions and support have really helped us help so many throughout the years. So thank you. And actually, I wanted to close by doing one exercise, if you will indulge me. When I was thinking about speaking today, I was watching a PBS documentary on Mr. Rogers, and there was a particular part that really touched my heart, and it made me think of the work that you do and the work that Richstone does. And it was this gift of a silent minute. So really, the theory behind it is to give ourselves the gift of a quiet minute, a minute to think about those who have helped you become who you are today. Some of them may be nearby and with you every day, and some might be far away. Some may be gone and might have even left this earth. But wherever they are, if they've loved you and encouraged you and wanted what was best in life for you, they're right inside yourself and are part of you. And so during these challenging times and on this Veterans Day, I wanted to just encourage everyone to take a minute in honor of those who have cared and nurtured you along the way. And whoever you think about, imagine how grateful they must be that during your silent times, you remember how important they are to you. Because it's not the possessions that we have in life which ultimately nourish our souls. It's the people who have helped us form bedrock lives from which make our choices that are important. So I think in thinking about the work, it is about being that silent supporter. It's being the person who helps change someone else's life and who can truly make an impact on life. So thank you, because I think, again, you make possible the work that we do that really makes these lasting impacts that really change these children's lives. And that is all from me.
Allison, thank you so much. What an informative presentation. And I've always just thought your logo was very special, and hearing the story behind it, I still have tears in my eyes. Very, very beautiful. And that blue one at the end blue happens to be my favorite color, but I love your red one too. Really special. Do you have a few moments for some questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I'll start with one. You mentioned obviously during COVID the incidences of abuse and trauma are up, which is so sad. How do your clients come to you during non-COVID times, but especially, and then now, how do they come to you? I mean, tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So a majority of our clients are coming from, the courts and DCFS. So the Department of Children and Family Services, we have a lot of referrals through them. Okay. And then also through the schools in times, we get a lot of referrals. We do run crisis intervention programs in the local schools as well. Okay. So we have a wonderful relationship with the schools. And then because we've been in community for 46 years, we do get a lot of self-referrals. So families who have heard about us through their friends or who, just know about us as being in the community, we do get a lot of folks that just self-refer when they need help.
That's beautiful. They know they have a problem and they trust your organization, obviously. Yeah. Really, really important. And are there services to these families at no cost?
Majority, so the therapy, we work on a sliding scale. Okay. So for like 96% of the families that we see live at or below the poverty line. So they are coming to us and receive free services. for a lot of our court ordered, like if it's a court ordered program, like the domestic violence perpetrators class that we run, or if it's a parenting class, it's mandated courts. We do have like a fee that we charge for those. I think it's like $15 a class. And we do have fee waivers available, but I think for us, it's one of those where it's kind of that responsibility portion for the family. Like if it's court ordered, we really want them to take the program seriously, to pay and to be able to really get something out of it.
Oh, okay. Thank you for really great. All right.
And this is Josephine. I just want to thank you so much. What a beautiful, I absolutely am so in awe of the work that you guys are doing and the lives that you're changing by providing the education and services that are needed for these families that are just in a really tough spot. And obviously with what's going on in our world, that has only gotten tougher. So we are so honored and humbled to be able to help you in continuing that work that you do. Gail, I think you were about to say something. I'm sorry if I cut you off.
No, I was just going to ask if there were other questions. That's all. Thank you, Josie.
Perfect. And that's exactly where I'd like to open it up to. Allison, if you have a little bit of time, we have 23 participants on the call, and I wanted to see if anybody had any specific questions for Allison Tanaka from Richstone. Hopefully I can see you if you're waving your hand, or please use your Zoom function where you can raise the hand or just unmute yourself and go ahead and speak. I don't see anybody waving at me. Oh, Marcia? I'm going to unmute you, Marcia. I think you're going to have to unmute yourself, Marcia.
What's the age range of the children that you take care of?
That's a great question. So we have a first five, like a home visitation program that serves children ages 0 to 5. So that's like our first intervention program. So we really serve from 0 up through adulthood. I would say the bulk of our kids are probably early elementary, so maybe 5 to 10 years old, but really we have programs as early as
wow,
birth.
That's amazing.
I'm just looking around to see if anybody else has any questions. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, Allison, well, I think I'm just going to thank you. So, oh, Antonia, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question, Allison. It's a beautiful program, and it's just really, really amazing that you're giving families a chance to heal. What is the estimated time that your families are generally with you? How long does it take them to get through a process of kind of going out on their own and feeling good about their progress?
You know, I think it definitely varies. I normally with the trauma-informed cognitive, like with some of the trauma-informed therapy, it really was initially structured to be like a 10-session program. But for a lot of our families, they don't wrap up cleanly in 10 weeks, right? So I think we've had some families that are with us for 10 to 20 sessions. We've had some families, if they're multi-generational, like if they've got different levels of kids in their family, that they're with us for years. There was one young lady in the video that you saw. She also, I think because of the multitude of programs that we have, there was one young lady in the video who her family started with us doing therapy, then mom went and did parenting classes. The kids got into kids club. So kids club, our after school program, is from 1st through 8th grade. We ended up having a really long-term relationship with that family. They were with us for, probably at least 8 years. They were one of the first families that I really got to know. Yeah. So it's nice. They may not be going through therapy the entire time, but, because we're offering new wellness programs, because we have the kids club program, we are able to maintain contact and support these families through the different levels that they need throughout the years. So actually one of them, Vanessa, been recently come back, and she's helping to coordinate our holiday programs. So it's great. She was in kids club. They went through all this with years ago. She graduated from college. She's back, and now she's helping us to coordinate some of our holiday assistance programs. So we love when we have these really meaningful relationships with families.
Great. Thank you, Antonia, for that question. Is there any other questions, or we'll go ahead and let Allison go so she can be that tape for all those hearts. I don't see any more questions. Okay, Allison, well, we just want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison.
Thank you. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. Happy Veterans Day.
Thanks. Happy Veterans Day. Bye, sweetheart. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.